Hey toy fans, Aaron here. Before we get into today's episode, I want to just give a shout out, Knights of Vader podcast. They talk Star Wars. They had me on this week. It was lots of fun, but we were talking Force Friday. They were asking me questions about my collection and stuff. So if you'd want to hear me go on and on about toys, definitely check that out. Again, that is Knights of Vader podcast. And if you don't want to listen to me ramble on about toys, definitely still check them out. Definitely worth listening to. Anyways, you can find them like on iTunes, through the podcast app. Today, though, we're going to take a look at the ski speeder from The Last Jedi. So let's head to that table and check it out. And taking a look at that packaging, this is, of course, in the Star Wars Last Jedi branded line. Great artwork of the ship in motion here on whatever planet we're seeing. Of course, we'll find out in December. Got a little window on the packaging showing off the included Poe Dameron figure. And then, of course, you got your advertisement that this is Force Link compatible. And then you got one side of the package showing off the Force Link compatibility, or capabilities rather. And then on the other side you got the photograph of Poe Dameron in his little action stance. And on the back side of the box you got a brief description about the vehicle. Of course you see the picture of the toy and Poe Dameron. Also that this has a blast-off wing, some missiles that shoot out. Of course your Force Link advertisement. And you got a couple images of the other figures and vehicles that are also available in this line. And with the ship out of the packaging, all you need to do is assemble that blast-off wing and slide in this little handle at the bottom. Put your missiles in the center and you're good to go. This is a pretty cool looking ship. Now for those of you watching in the future, we haven't seen the movie yet, so it's hard to make too many comparisons of this toy to what we're going to see in the movie. Got a brief glimpse of it in the trailer and, it looks pretty representative of what we saw. Scale-wise, I can't speak to that. Obviously, Hasbro's been shrinking down the Star Wars vehicles, so it's hard to say where this guy should line in at. But as far as the design of the vehicle, very reminiscent of the B-Wing fighters that we've seen in Return of the Jedi. Obviously, we don't have a canopy on this vehicle. I don't know if it's that way in the movie or not, or if Hasbro was just looking for ways to save money. I can't imagine that if there was a canopy, they would not have included it here, but who knows. Get a little bit of detailing on the front of the vehicle. Possibly maybe some weapon here or something. This does swivel around. Obviously, what looks like more weapons here on the side of the cockpit. Not sure what these guys are, but you got some nice detailing of some wires or pipes or something running to the back side to what may be an engine here. Nice painting along the top, a little bit of wear showing for these burgundy or red color lines and, whatever this scarring mark would be here. Looking inside the cockpit, you got just a little bit of detailing. Nothing crazy in there, no paint applications or anything. There is this little seat belt in here to hold your figure down. And for my big hands, I do find this a little annoying. It's like a one of those zip ties. But you just got to kind of pull it out. Bear with me here. So yeah, if you can see in there, there's a little slot for this thing to slide into. And that thing definitely gets in the way of being able to slide Poe in. But you'll get it eventually. There we go. So he fits, and then you're left with this strap that you can't really do anything with. Plus side, he fits in nicely. I'm just not a big fan of this little zip tie holding him down. Even without it, he's not falling out. Could have done without that. Similar paint schemes going throughout. More wear and some red lines here. Whatever you want to call this, wires or whatnot. Anyways, pretty good detailing throughout the top of this wing. Goes throughout end to end. Getting to this back center area. This cover does pop off. Try and get this done on camera for you. So there you go. So it snaps off. Two pegs slide in here and it just kind of hooks in on the side. Lots of engine detailing for the inside. Obviously they could have skimped on that if they wanted to, but didn't. So nice added touch seeing that through here. Getting underneath the vehicle. Obviously you got your landing gear that flops out. Got it on each side. Wings underneath it's a thin piece of plastic and you got a little ridge here for an indent. I'm sure, probably in the movie, like this is all solid through here, but instead of a hollow piece of plastic or something, it's just thinned out and then raised edges to give it some thickness as you look at it from the back this way. Oops, sorry. Or from the front here. These are your two missiles. I'll shoot those out in a second. And then on this wing, looks like another couple weapons here. Looks like a bluish silver paint detailing in here for these vents or whatever they might be also at the top of the wings. Overall, I think it's a pretty cool looking ship. And as far as those missiles, you've got a trigger on the bottom of your handle, and you pull that trigger to get those missiles out. They shoot out pretty good, I gotta say. Speaking of which, that little handle, we saw in the trailer, This is skimming along the surface, kicking up some red sand or something. So a little spring loaded there. And then this spring part here doesn't get in the way of putting the vehicle down if you want to have it landed. You know, it holds the weight up nicely. And as we saw in the box, the vehicle does have a blast-off wing feature here. You push this center button on the top of the vehicle, and that'll eject that wing. And it just slides back in there. And then on the bottom of the vehicle, you do see the little Force Link symbol. This might actually be where I just fell in love with the Force Link. So as long as you're holding the vehicle in your hand, that engine sound keeps humming. Now hopefully I got some room to show this here, but when you slide that vehicle forward, get a little acceleration. Now you also get a little bit of different sound if you move the vehicle side to side. That's too hard for me to do without knocking everything off the table and camera and stuff, so you'll have to try that one out for yourself. But anyways, I think that's pretty cool. And now for this vehicle, it is just the sounds. There does not seem to be any lights on this. That's fine. But for the sounds, that's pretty sweet, I think. And looking at that figure, it is all new. He's got that dark brown leather jacket on, Rebel Alliance symbol on his left shoulder. Now, just to note, I do have to lean this figure forward quite a bit just to get him to stay standing upright. Definitely has a tendency to fall backwards, at least on mine. So definitely some ankle articulation would have helped. Maybe some of the other figures out there will have an easier time staying upright. I'm going to jump right into the head sculpt here, and I've got to say the sculpt of the figure looks fantastic, this head sculpt. I think it's the best representation we've seen so far to Oscar Isaac. Very nicely done. Eyebrow painting, though, is a little off-center. Looking at mine, it looks like the eyebrows are shifted to the left a little there. So not as good painting there. And also the face seems awfully dark, especially in comparison to the neck area. And that neck painting really fades to the seams of the figure where it joins in that middle area. So not the best paint job in that respect. Going into the chest area and then arms, arms are pretty basic. You got your cloth molded in for detailing on the arms. That leather jacket's looking pretty good. Nice seams and stuff that you can see, pocket detailing. And to note, that vest portion of the jacket, if you will, is loose from the figure. I'm not going to go so far as to say it's removable. Maybe there's some glue tacking it down somewhere, or you're not going to be able to get it through the arms. But I'm glad they did that, and it certainly allows for the legs to fold up and get into that cockpit with that jacket being loose. There's a closer look at the Rebel symbol on the top of his sleeve. Definitely looks like it's got some wear in there, kind of a little aged and scruffed up a bit. Little sloppy hand painting as well at the cuff of the sleeve. And his undershirt has some nice detailing to it. It's folded down at the front of the shirt around the neck area, and lots of nice little wrinkles and stuff in there. As for the belt and holster area, belt looks good. Your little buckle paint detailing there. Holster molded onto the side of the leg, and that gun slides nicely in. As far as the rest of the figure, it's as you'd expect. Molded cloth for pant legs, and the boots have a little bit of strap detailing and stuff. So minus the paint job, really, so aside from the paint job not being so great, especially within the eyebrows and the way the skin tone's not matching along the neck and the face and a little slop on the hands, aside from that, sculpt-wise, it's a great-looking figure. As far as the articulation on this figure, that head does swivel around side to side and nothing up and down. Arm movement, of course, shoulders up and down, no problems there. And then each leg does come forward. And as I mentioned, with this jacket being loose, it does slide right over that holster very nicely. And then, of course, you can slide your legs back if you wanted to. No ankle articulation, no waist articulation. It's just your basic 5-point figure. And then, of course, you got the Force Link symbol at the bottom of his left foot. And for those Force Link sounds for the figure,
now we have a chance. We got a lot of company! I'm gonna get us in position.
and then as far as that slide forward motion, since the figure does have a gun, that gets you your blaster effects.
Hit the target hard. Red 4, red 6, cover us.
Here's a look at the blaster that Poe comes with. You get a little bit of detailing on it. I don't recall him having this particular sidearm in The Force Awakens, so I think this is new to The Last Jedi movie. Fits pretty good in his hand, otherwise there's really not much special to say about this. And Poe does have one other accessory, and that is this headset. Pretty nice sculpting to it, obviously no paint detailing on there. I do like that this was offered as a separate piece that you can put on or take off the head as you want. And for the most part, it sits pretty nicely on the head. You know, if a kid were playing with it or bump it easily, it's going to fall off. But for me, obviously I'm not a kid anymore, but for me, I like that I can take it off and put it on if I really wanted to. And I think the kid version of me would have liked that too. So overall, it is a pretty cool looking toy. Definitely like the Force Link sounds of the vehicle flying along. I look forward to that continuing on the other vehicles. That's pretty cool. As long as you're holding it, that sound keeps going. It's got a pretty good design to it. Again, hard to speak to scale of the vehicle, hard to say anything to that. But even if it's smaller, that's kind of what we're getting now anyways. And Poe Dameron, well, the sculpt is there, but not so great on the paint application in the face area, the skin detailing and stuff. And so that wraps up this look at the Ski Speeder. I'd love to know your thoughts on this vehicle and the Force Link capabilities in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.